The universe had forgotten Earth a long time ago. To the other races among the stars, humans were nothing special. Soft bodies, short lives, and small minds. They were considered weak, almost harmless. The powerful alien empires never bothered to destroy them. Why would they? Humans were already losing their own planet, fighting themselves, poisoning their world. But something had changed. The story begins on a silent night in the ruins of an old city. The sky was dark, filled with smoke and the faint red glow of the alien motherships that had been orbiting Earth for 10 years. The invasion was not sudden. It was slow, careful, like a disease spreading through the body of a dying host. Among the broken towers and burned cars, a small group of survivors moved quietly. There were only 5 of them, dressed in torn armor, carrying weapons that looked older than they were. They didn't speak much. Every sound could bring drones flying in from above. The leader of the group was a man named Eli Moran. His eyes were tired, but his steps were steady. He had seen too much: cities fall, friends die, skies burn. But something inside him still refused to give up. Behind him walked Leah, a scientist who once worked in a government lab before the fall. She carried a small black case with her everywhere, clutching it like it was her last piece of hope. They were heading toward the underground tunnels, where rumors said a new kind of weapon was being built, something that could change everything. The night air was cold, and the city seemed dead. But as they moved, they saw a faint light flickering from one of the tall buildings nearby. Eli raised his hand, signaling the group to stop. "Drones," whispered one of the soldiers. Eli shook his head. "No. Too low. Maybe survivors." Leah frowned. "Or a trap." Eli nodded. "Yeah. But we have to check. We can't lose any chance." They entered the building slowly, guns ready. The walls were cracked, covered in strange glowing marks, alien symbols, like some kind of warning. The deeper they went, the brighter the light became, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. Then they saw it. In the center of a large hall, surrounded by old machines and broken glass, stood a metallic pod, half human-made, half alien. It was humming quietly, and inside it was something. A human. The person was floating in a clear fluid, wires and tubes running into their body. They looked alive, but asleep. Leah stepped closer, her eyes wide. "This isn't possible. This technology, it's not ours." Eli stared at the pod. "Then whose is it?" Before anyone could answer, the pod made a soft click. The fluid inside began to drain, and the body slowly lowered down. The group took a step back, weapons raised. The person opened their eyes. They glowed faintly blue. Leah gasped. "He's augmented." The man inside the pod looked around, confused, then focused on Eli. His voice was calm but strange, mechanical and human at the same time. "Where am I?" Eli hesitated. "Earth. Or what's left of it." The man stepped out, unsteady but strong. He looked at his hands, flexed them, and said quietly, "So they finished it." Leah's heart was racing. "Finished what?" He turned to her. "Project Helix. The Human Evolution Protocol. You were supposed to destroy it." Leah's face went pale. You know about Helix?" "I was the first," he said simply. "The first of what was meant to come next." Before anyone could speak again, a deep sound filled the air, the screech of alien engines above them. The building shook. Drones were coming. Eli grabbed his rifle. "We need to move." The stranger looked up, his blue eyes glowing brighter. "No. Let me handle this." He walked toward the broken window and looked at the sky. 3 drones were approaching fast, their lights cutting through the night. The group ducked behind cover, expecting death. But what happened next no one could have imagined. The man raised his hand, and the air shimmered around him. A sudden pulse of blue light shot upward, silent but deadly. The drones froze mid-air, their engines dying at once. Then, one by one, they exploded, bright flashes lighting up the ruined city. Eli stared, Speechless, Leah could only whisper, "Impossible." The man turned back to them. His voice was calm again. "It's not impossible anymore." He walked past them, heading deeper into the city. "You said the war isn't over?" Eli followed him slowly. "You could say that. We're losing." The man smiled faintly, though his eyes were cold. "Then maybe it's time we stop losing." Leah ran after them, clutching her case. "Wait. If Project Helix worked, that means—" He stopped and looked back. "That means humanity isn't weak anymore." Outside, the red lights of the alien motherships moved across the sky. For the first time in years, Eli felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. He looked at the stranger walking ahead of him, glowing faintly in the dark, and he thought to himself, maybe the universe had made a mistake when it forgot about humans. Because humans were weak. Until they weren't. Eli and the others followed the strange man through the broken streets. The night wind carried the smell of ash and metal. The explosions from the drones still echoed in the distance. Every step they took felt heavier, like the city itself was watching them. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, Leah broke the silence. "What's your name?" The man didn't turn. "I don't remember my name. They erased it when the experiment started." Eli frowned. "Then what do we call you?" He paused for a moment, looking at the cracked road ahead. "Call me Helix. It's what they made me." Leah looked uneasy. Project Helix wasn't supposed to continue. The council banned it. It was too dangerous. Helix stopped walking and looked back at her, his glowing eyes calm. "Dangerous? Maybe. But it worked. And now, you need me." Before Eli could respond, they heard a distant hum, alien patrol ships scanning the city. Their lights swept over the ruins like the eyes of some giant predator. Eli motioned for the group to hide under a collapsed bridge. They crouched behind the wreckage, barely breathing. The hum grew louder. Leah whispered, "They must have tracked the drones. They'll find us." Helix closed his eyes. The blue light around him flickered softly, then vanished completely. It was as if he had turned himself off. Eli stared at him. "What are you doing?" "Making us invisible," Helix whispered. "To their sensors." The patrol ship passed directly above them. The ground shook. For a terrifying moment, a beam of light stopped right where they hid. But it didn't react. It simply moved on, scanning elsewhere. Then the sound faded away into the dark sky. Everyone exhaled at once. Eli looked at Helix. "You just saved our lives." Helix nodded once. "You're welcome." They continued moving until they reached an old subway station, hidden beneath the ruins. This was one of the last human safe zones. When they entered, guards aimed their rifles immediately. "Hold it!" one shouted. "Who are they?" Eli stepped forward. "It's me, Captain Moran. We've brought someone important." The guards hesitated, then lowered their guns. As they moved deeper inside, survivors gathered around, whispering. Children peeked from corners. Old men looked up with hollow eyes. The underground base was small but alive. Eli led Helix to the command room. Maps were pinned to the walls, showing red zones of alien control spreading across continents. Only a few blue dots remained, human resistance cells barely holding on. The commander, a tall woman named Reyna, turned as they entered. "You're late, Moran. I thought your team was gone." Eli nodded. "Almost were. But we found something. Someone." He stepped aside so she could see Helix. Reyna frowned. "Who is he?" Helix spoke first. "I'm what your people tried to create before the fall." Reyna studied him. "You mean, the Helix program? That myth." Leah set down her black case and opened it. Inside were old data drives glowing faintly. "Not a myth," she said quietly. "He's proof." Reyna stared at the drives, then back at Helix. What can you do? Helix looked at the map. Enough to make them fear humans again. Reyna crossed her arms. We don't need promises. We need results. The aliens are moving toward this sector. If they find this base, we're finished. Helix turned to Eli. How many fighters do you have? 200, maybe less, Eli replied. Most of them are tired, hungry. Our weapons barely work. Helix nodded. Then it's time to teach them something new. The next morning, the base woke to strange sounds, energy crackling, metal twisting, people shouting. When Eli stepped outside the command room, he saw Helix standing in the training yard, surrounded by soldiers. Helix lifted his hand, and a pile of broken drone parts floated into the air. Everyone gasped. He moved his fingers slightly, and the parts snapped together, forming a working weapon. It glowed faintly blue, just like his eyes. This is alien tech, Helix said. But now it's ours. You can learn to use it. A young soldier stepped forward. You can teach us that? Yes, Helix replied. Humans learn faster than any race I've seen. You just never had a chance to try. Reyna watched from above. She didn't speak, but her face showed something rare, hope mixed with fear. By nightfall, the soldiers had new weapons, human-made, but powered by stolen alien energy. For the first time in years, the resistance felt stronger. Later that night, Eli found Helix sitting alone near the tunnel entrance, looking up at the cracks in the ceiling where bits of starlight shone through. You really think we can win? Eli asked. Helix didn't look away from the light. Winning is just surviving long enough to evolve. Eli frowned. Evolve. Helix turned to him. You think I'm the only one? The others like me, they were hidden. Some still sleep beneath the cities. When they wake up, everything will change. Eli's eyes widened. There are more of you. Helix smiled faintly. There will be. Before Eli could ask more, alarms began to blare across the base. Soldiers ran past, shouting. Reyna's voice echoed through the speakers. Incoming ships. They've found us. Eli grabbed his rifle and turned to Helix. Can you stop them again? Helix stood up slowly, his eyes glowing brighter than ever. No, he said. This time, I'll show them what humans really are. He walked toward the surface as explosions shook the tunnels. The soldiers followed, ready to fight. When Helix reached the broken street, he looked up. The sky burned red with alien ships descending. Eli's heart pounded. What are you going to do? Helix raised his arms. The air around him began to hum. Lightning crawled across his skin. Wake them up, he whispered. Far below the city, deep in the ground, old pods, like the one they found before, began to glow. One by one, they opened. And somewhere, something ancient inside humanity started to rise again. The sky over the ruined city turned red as the alien ships descended. The ground trembled under their engines, and the air burned with light and smoke. Helix stood in the middle of the street, calm and still, as if the chaos didn't touch him. Around him, the human soldiers took cover behind broken walls, loading their new hybrid weapons. Eli shouted orders, his voice barely cutting through the noise. Positions. Keep your eyes on the skies. From above, the alien ships opened their hatches. Dozens of drones poured out, their metallic wings glowing green. The hum of their energy weapons filled the air. Leah ran out from the tunnel entrance, holding her black case tight. Helix. They'll destroy everything if we stay here. Helix didn't move. His glowing blue eyes followed the ships. Then we don't stay, he said softly. Before anyone could react, he lifted his hand. The ground shook, and a pulse of blue light spread out in a wide circle. The drones in the air suddenly froze, their engines stuttering. Sparks flickered across their bodies as their systems failed. Eli stared, speechless. You're shutting them down? Helix's voice was steady. No. I'm waking them up. The soldiers looked confused, until they saw what he meant. The drone's lights shifted from green to blue. Then, one by one, they turned their weapons toward the alien ships. "What the?" a soldier whispered. In seconds, the sky became a battlefield of fire and metal. The stolen drones attacked their former masters, raining energy blasts onto the alien ships. Explosions painted the clouds orange. Eli ducked as debris rained down. "You turned their own machines against them." Helix didn't answer. His body was surrounded by flickering arcs of light, and his expression was blank, distant, like his mind was somewhere else. Then, from the ground, a deeper rumble began to rise. Leah felt it first, a vibration under her feet. She looked at Helix, realization dawning in her eyes. "You said you were waking them up. You mean?" The street cracked open. Far below, something massive moved. Blue light poured from the fissures as pods, hidden for years, began to open. Figures stepped out, men and women, human in shape but glowing like Helix, their eyes cold and bright. The soldiers backed away in fear. "What are they?" one whispered. Helix turned, his voice calm. "They're what humanity was meant to become." There were dozens of them, maybe more, each one emerging from the ground like ghosts of a forgotten army. Their movements were smooth, silent, unnatural. When they looked up at the burning sky, their eyes reflected the light of the explosions like stars. Eli couldn't tell if he was watching salvation or the beginning of something worse. One of the new Helix beings stepped forward, a tall woman with silver hair and eyes brighter than the rest. She looked at Helix. "You woke us." Helix nodded. "It's time." Leah whispered. "Time for what?" The woman turned her glowing gaze toward her. "Time to end the experiment." Above them, the alien motherships began to react. Giant cannons on their undersides glowed with energy, preparing to strike. The sky turned white. Eli yelled, "Incoming!" But Helix didn't move. He raised both hands, and the ground split wider. Energy surged upward, forming a barrier of shimmering blue light that covered the entire city. When the alien blasts hit it, the energy rippled but held strong. The impact was so powerful that the humans were thrown off their feet. Leah coughed, struggling to stand. "Helix, you can't hold that alone." "I'm not," he said quietly. All around him, the other awakened humans lifted their hands too. Their energy joined his, and the barrier grew stronger, brighter. Together, they pushed back the alien fire, sending waves of blue light rippling through the clouds. The alien ships began to fall, one by one, crashing into the ground like burning meteors. The battle ended as suddenly as it had begun. Smoke filled the sky. Silence followed, broken only by the distant crackle of fire. Eli stood slowly, staring at the destruction. The motherships that had ruled Earth's sky for years were gone. They did it," he whispered. Leah didn't look relieved. Her face was pale, her hands trembling. "No. You don't understand. The Helix prototypes were unstable. The more energy they use, the less human they become." Eli turned sharply to her. "What are you saying?" Leah looked at Helix, who stood motionless, his eyes glowing brighter than ever. "If they keep using that power, they won't stop at the aliens. They won't stop at all." As if hearing her, Helix looked back. His expression was unreadable. Humanity asked for strength. We gave it to them. Leah took a step forward. "You don't have to lose yourself. You can still control it." Helix tilted his head slightly, studying her. "Control." He looked at his glowing hands. "I was made to protect humanity. Now, I am what humanity has become." Eli stepped closer. "Helix, listen to me. You're still one of us." For a moment, Helix's eyes dimmed slightly, as if the human inside was still there. But then, the other Helix beings began to move, forming a circle around him. The light from their bodies intensified, and a strange hum filled the air again. Leah backed away, fear in her eyes. "What are they doing?" Helix spoke softly, almost like a whisper carried on the wind. "We're connecting." And then, before anyone could react, all of them vanished, disappearing in a flash of blue light that left the city empty and silent once more. Eli and Leah stood alone among the ruins, the air still crackling from the energy that lingered. Leah looked up at the night sky, where the smoke was clearing to reveal distant stars. "They're gone." Eli nodded slowly. "No," he said. "They're out there. And something tells me they're not finished." Far above Earth, hidden in the dark between stars, a faint blue glow appeared, like a pulse. Then, another. Then hundreds more. Something new was spreading. Something human. Something evolved. The stars above Earth shimmered faintly blue. To the human eye, it looked peaceful, beautiful even. But the people who watched from the ground knew better. Those lights were not stars. They were something new. Something born from the ashes of war. The Helix beings had vanished from the ruins, leaving behind silence and fear. In the days that followed, humanity tried to rebuild. The alien invaders were gone, their ships fallen and silent, but no one celebrated. Everyone whispered about what came next. Deep under the city, the survivors gathered again in the old subway base. The air smelled of smoke and metal, and the tension was thick. Eli stood over a holographic map, staring at the faint blue dots that now floated in orbit. "They're building something," he said quietly. Leah stood beside him, arms crossed, her eyes red from sleepless nights. "An orbital structure. I've tracked energy spikes for 3 days. They're not just up there, they're working together." Commander Reyna entered the room, her voice sharp. "We should destroy them before they destroy us. You saw what they did, they're not human anymore." Eli looked up at her. "Without them, we'd all be dead. You remember that, right?" Reyna's jaw tightened. "I also remember the look in Helix's eyes before he disappeared. That wasn't a soldier. That was something else." Leah spoke softly. "He saved us. Maybe he's trying to save everyone." Reyna slammed her hand on the table. "Or maybe he's trying to control everyone." For a moment, no one spoke. The only sound was the hum of the generators. Then the lights flickered. The air around them buzzed with static. Leah looked up. "What now?" A deep voice echoed through the speakers, calm, cold, and familiar. "Humans of Earth." Eli froze. "Helix." The voice continued. "This world has suffered enough. The age of weakness is over. The Helix network will rebuild what was lost. Together, we will make a new order, stronger, unified, beyond flesh." Reyna's eyes widened. "He's broadcasting from orbit." "Do not fear us," Helix said. "We were human once. And we remember what it means to survive." The signal cut out, leaving only silence. Leah whispered, "He's creating a network, maybe a hive mind. That's why they connected." Eli rubbed his face, exhausted. "If that's true, then we're running out of time." Above the planet, in the darkness of space, the Helix beings floated among fragments of destroyed alien ships. They worked wordlessly, their movements synchronized, building a structure from the wreckage, a massive ring glowing blue around the Earth. Helix stood at the center, looking down at the planet below. His body pulsed with energy, the stars reflecting in his cold, bright eyes. The silver-haired woman from before drifted beside him. "They fear us," she said. "They always feared what they couldn't control," Helix replied. "But fear can be useful." "What will we do with them?" she asked. Helix's gaze didn't waver. "We guide them. Protect them from themselves. They destroyed their world once. We won't let them do it again. And if they resist?" Helix turned slowly. "Then they will evolve, or perish." Back on Earth, Leah was studying the last surviving data files from the Helix project. Her hands trembled as she read the final report. "This can't be right." Eli looked over her shoulder. "What is it?" She pointed to a line of text. Phase 3 activation. Neural integration of all human DNA within planetary signal range. Eli, he's planning to link every human mind to the network. Eli's stomach turned. He wants to merge us all? Leah nodded. It's not control. It's connection. But once it starts, there's no going back. No individuality. No free will. Reyna entered the room again, carrying a weapon. Then we stop him. Before we lose what makes us human. Leah shook her head. You can't fight him with guns. His power is beyond that. Eli stood, thinking hard. Maybe not with guns, but maybe with memory. Leah frowned. What do you mean? He looked at her. Helix said he doesn't remember who he was before the experiment. If we can find something, someone, from his past, maybe we can remind him what being human means. It was a desperate idea. But desperation was all humanity had left. Days later, they found it, an old data core hidden beneath a destroyed government lab. It contained the files of the original Helix test subjects. And one name stood out. Dr. Evelyn Moran. Leah looked up at Eli. Moran. That's your last name. Eli's throat went dry. She was my sister. The realization hit them both. Helix was her creation, Leah whispered. She must have used someone close to her, someone she trusted. Eli's mind raced. Someone like me? Leah shook her head. No. Helix wasn't you. But he might remember her. Maybe she imprinted her DNA or memory code into him. It's possible she left something human inside him. Eli clenched his fists. Then that's how we reach him. Reyna entered, impatient. We don't have time for guesses. Their orbital structure will be complete within 24 hours. After that, the entire planet will be inside his signal range. Eli looked at her. Then we go up there. Reyna blinked. Into orbit. That's suicide. Leah met his eyes. You're serious, aren't you? Eli nodded slowly. If Helix was once human, then he can be reached. But only if we face him ourselves. Outside, the night sky glowed faintly blue again, the light of the Helix ring spreading across the clouds. The signal had already begun to pulse, reaching the edges of human cities. People started hearing whispers in their minds, soft, distant, calm. Join us. Some called it a miracle. Others, a warning. Eli loaded his rifle and stared at the sky. He saved humanity once, he said. Now we have to save it from him. As the blue light grew brighter, Leah whispered, the line between man and machine is gone now. If we fail, maybe that's what humans were always meant to become. Eli looked up at the stars, his voice quiet but firm. Maybe. But not like this. The world trembled again. Somewhere high above, Helix opened his eyes. He could hear them coming. And he was waiting. The sky above Earth was no longer dark. It pulsed with blue light from the enormous ring floating in orbit. People all over the planet looked up and felt the strange vibration in their heads, a low hum, almost like a whisper. The Helix network was growing stronger. Eli Moran stood on the old launch platform near what used to be Cape Horizon. The wind blew hard across the broken concrete. In front of him stood a half-repaired shuttle, the last working craft they had managed to rebuild from alien wreckage and human parts. Its hull was rough, patched with mismatched panels and glowing blue coils. Leah checked the power cores one last time. If we go up there, there's no guarantee we'll make it back, she said quietly. Eli strapped his weapon to his chest. I'm not going for guarantees. I'm going for answers. Commander Reyna stood beside them, her armor scarred from battle. You really think you can talk to him? Eli looked up at the faint ring in the sky. If there's still anything human left in Helix, I have to try. Leah looked at him, uncertain. And if there isn't? Then we finish what he started, Eli said. but on our terms. The engines rumbled as the shuttle powered up. The air filled with dust and heat. The few remaining soldiers saluted as the craft lifted off, rising slowly through the smoke and clouds. The earth grew smaller beneath them. Above, the ring became clearer, a massive structure made from the bones of alien ships, glowing with blue veins of light. It rotated slowly, like a living machine. As they approached, Leah stared at the readings. There's a signal coming from the core. It's everywhere. It's like a heartbeat. Eli looked out the window. That's him. When the shuttle reached the outer edge of the ring, a sudden flash of light surrounded them. Their systems shut down for a moment. Everything went dark. Reyna cursed. EMP field. We're dead in the water. But before they could react, a voice filled the cabin. Calm, familiar. Welcome home, Eli. Leah froze. He knows you're here. The shuttle began to move on its own, pulled by invisible energy toward the center of the ring. Outside, the structure shifted, opening like a giant iris. When the light cleared, they were inside. The interior was enormous. Glowing towers, floating platforms, streams of blue light flowing like rivers in the air. It looked more like a mind than a machine. Eli unbuckled his straps. Let's move. As they stepped out, a figure appeared ahead, tall, silent, glowing with blue energy. Helix. His voice echoed softly around them. You shouldn't have come. Eli stepped forward. You left us no choice. You're forcing every human mind into your network. Helix looked calm, almost sad. I'm saving them. No more hunger. No more war. One thought, one purpose. Unity. That's not living, Eli said. That's control. Helix's eyes dimmed slightly. You speak of freedom. But what has your freedom given you? Destruction. Pain. You call it humanity. I call it chaos. Leah stepped beside Eli. Maybe chaos is what makes us human. We make mistakes, we fight, we fail, but we choose. That's what you've forgotten. For a moment, Helix said nothing. The light around him flickered. I haven't forgotten, he said quietly. I remember the pain, the noise, the fear. I remember her. Eli's heart raced. You remember who? Helix looked at him. Evelyn. Eli froze. My sister. Helix nodded slowly. She made me. She gave me a part of herself, her mind, her memories. But they were incomplete. She wanted to create something that could save humanity, even if she couldn't. Leah opened her pack and took out a small data drive. Then you should see what she left behind. Helix turned, cautious. What is it? A message, Leah said. From her final log. She wanted you to hear it. Helix hesitated. Then he reached out, and the data drive floated from Leah's hand into the air. A hologram flickered, a woman's face, calm and gentle. Helix, the voice said softly. If you're hearing this, then I failed. Humanity wasn't ready. But neither were you. You were meant to protect them, not rule them. They need to find their own way. That's what makes them strong. The hologram faded. Silence filled the chamber. Helix closed his eyes. His light flickered again, weaker now. She believed in them. Even after everything. Eli stepped closer. She believed in you too. Helix looked at him. And you? Do you believe? I believe that humanity doesn't need to be perfect, Eli said. Just free. For the first time, Helix smiled faintly. Freedom. The ring around them began to shake. Sparks of light burst from the walls. Leah checked her scanner. The network is destabilizing. He's losing control. Helix looked up at the collapsing energy streams. The signal can't be stopped now. But it can be redirected. What does that mean? Eli shouted. Helix turned to him. If I take the signal into myself, it won't reach the surface. The network will die, But so will I. Leah's voice broke. There has to be another way. Helix shook his head. This is what I was made for. He reached out his hand toward Eli. Tell them, humans were weak, until they learned what strength really means. Blue light surged from his body, spreading through the ring. The walls cracked, the glow intensified until it was blinding. Eli shouted, "Helix!" The explosion was silent, like the sound had been stolen from the universe. The entire ring shattered into dust, scattering across the stars. Moments later, the shuttle systems came back online. They were drifting, surrounded by fragments of light. Leah looked out the window, tears in her eyes. He's gone. Eli stared into the empty sky. No, he whispered. He kept his promise. Far below, on Earth, the blue glow faded from the clouds. The whispers in people's minds vanished. The world was quiet again. Leah touched Eli's shoulder. Do you think he found peace? Eli looked at the stars, where one faint blue spark still shimmered. I think he finally remembered what it means to be human. The shuttle turned toward Earth, descending through the clouds as dawn began to break. The light was warm, golden, alive, no longer blue. And for the first time in a long time, the world felt like it belonged to humans again. Earth was quiet. Too quiet. The sky, once streaked with the blue glow of the Helix network, now held the soft colors of dawn. Smoke from the battles had cleared, leaving cities in ruins but alive with survivors. People walked the streets cautiously, speaking in whispers. They were free, but the taste of freedom was strange, bitter, uncertain, and heavy with loss. Eli Moran and Leah returned to the underground base. The shuttle had carried them safely through the atmosphere, but the damage from the orbital explosion had left it barely functional. They stepped onto solid ground, tired but alive. Reyna was waiting. Her eyes were sharp, but relief softened her expression. You did it, she said simply. Eli nodded. We stopped him. The network won't reach anyone else. Leah frowned, holding a small device Helix had left floating in the shuttle during the explosion. It glimmered faintly. It's not over. He left something behind, something I can't fully access yet. Reyna raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Leah held the device carefully. It's a fragment of the network, or maybe a message. I can feel intelligence inside it. Helix left part of himself here. A puzzle, I think. Eli's stomach tightened. So even after everything, he didn't completely disappear. Leah shook her head. No. It's faint, but it's there. Something he wanted us to find. When we were ready. The base was alive with humans again, survivors coming out of hiding, children playing in dusty streets, soldiers cleaning and repairing old weapons. The world was fragile, but it was awake. Eli walked to a large map of the city. We need to rebuild. The aliens are gone, but the damage is enormous. And if Helix left something behind, we have to be ready. Leah tapped on the device, which projected a hologram. It was fragmented, showing flashes of stars, the shattered blue ring, and Helix's glowing eyes. Then, suddenly, it shifted, a pattern like a map. Its coordinates, Leah whispered. But not on Earth. Somewhere else. Eli's heart raced. Another planet? Leah nodded slowly. Or maybe a hidden station. Helix must have left something there for us to find, a message, a weapon, or a warning. Reyna crossed her arms. And you want to go there? Eli looked at her firmly. We can't ignore it. Humanity survived because of him once. Maybe this is the next step. Maybe it's what he wanted us to do all along. Outside the base, people stared at the sky. The clouds were clean now, but every so often, a faint flicker of blue still appeared far above, almost like a heartbeat, reminding everyone of what had happened. Leah continued to study the device. It's designed to test us. Only those who understand humanity's choices can unlock it. Helix didn't just leave a message. He left a trial. Eli frowned. A trial? Yes, Leah said quietly. A way to see if humans are ready. If we're strong enough to decide our own future without him controlling it. Reyna looked at Eli. And if we fail? Eli's jaw tightened. Then we learn. That's what he meant by strength. Humans aren't strong because we can fight. We're strong because we can choose, even when it's hard. Over the next days, the team worked tirelessly. They repaired the shuttle, analyzed Helix's device, and mapped the coordinates he had left. Supplies were scarce, and the survivors grew restless, but the hope of discovering Helix's final secret kept them moving forward. Late one night, Eli stood outside the base, looking at the stars. Leah joined him, holding a small cup of water. "You think he's watching?" she asked. Eli shook his head. "I don't know. But maybe it doesn't matter. He taught us something we couldn't have learned any other way. That humans, we can rise from weakness." Leah nodded, her eyes on the faint flicker above. "Do you think there's more like him? Other Helix prototypes?" Eli paused. "Maybe. But I hope not. I hope humanity is ready to walk on its own now." The device glimmered faintly in the room behind them. A soft pulse, almost like a heartbeat, echoed from it. Leah whispered, "It's starting to react again. Something is waking." Eli felt a chill run down his spine. Then the next chapter begins. Far above the planet, the stars shimmered, and the faint blue pulse grew stronger, almost like it was calling to someone, or something. The humans on Earth had survived. But the universe still held secrets, and Helix's final trial was waiting. And this time, it would not be easy. The stars above Earth pulsed faintly blue, calling to the survivors like a distant heartbeat. Eli Moran, Leah, and Reyna stood aboard the repaired shuttle, staring at the coordinates Helix had left. The destination was far beyond the solar system, a small, uncharted planet orbiting a dim star. Eli's voice broke the silence. "This is it. Whatever Helix left for us. It's here." Leah tightened her grip on the device. "I can feel it. It's alive, almost like it's waiting for us to understand it." Reyna checked the instruments again. "If Helix left a trap, we won't survive it." "Are you sure about this?" Eli looked at the blue pulse in the distance, steady now like a calm beacon. "Helix trusted us once. Maybe he trusted us again. We have to try." The shuttle entered orbit around the planet. It was barren at first glance, gray rocks, deep canyons, and nothing moving. But the device in Leah's hand pulsed stronger. She held it up, and the surface of the planet responded. Cracks of blue light appeared across the landscape, forming a grid, a map that led to the planet's core. Eli frowned. "It's guiding us?" Leah nodded. "It's like Helix left us a path. He wants us to walk it ourselves." They landed near the largest fissure, the device glowing so brightly it lit the canyon walls like a second sun. The ground rumbled beneath them as they descended. At the center, they found a structure, smaller than the Helix ring, but alive with the same energy. It was crystalline, made of pure blue light, pulsating with a rhythm that felt like a heartbeat. Leah whispered, "It's him, or a part of him. His final gift." Eli stepped forward cautiously. "What does it want from us?" The device floated from Leah's hands into the light, merging with the crystalline structure. Suddenly, the air vibrated, and they heard a voice, familiar, soft, calm. "Humans," Helix said. "You've survived. You've chosen. You've learned. Now, decide your own future." The structure split open, revealing holographic visions of the planet, the stars, Earth, and countless possibilities. Each vision showed humans making choices, peace or war, survival or domination, creation or destruction. Leah gasped. "He's showing us what could happen. All the futures we could have." Eli's hands clenched. "It's a test. He's giving us the power to choose without him guiding us." Reyna stepped closer. "And if we fail?" The voice of Helix responded softly, almost mournful. Then you will learn again. Humanity is strong not because of me, but because of the choices you make, even when they are hard. Eli looked around at the glowing visions. He saw war, he saw peace, famine, hope, fear, joy. And finally, he saw something else, a world where humans and Helix beings worked together, not as rulers and subjects, but as allies. He stepped forward. We choose freedom, choice. Humanity will decide its own path. Leah pressed her hand to the crystal. And we'll learn from our mistakes, like he wanted. The structure pulsed one last time, brighter than the sun. Then the blue light collapsed into the device, now calm and dark, like a heart finally at rest. The voice of Helix whispered for the last time. Well done. You are ready. Silence followed. The pulse in the sky faded. The stars looked ordinary again, and Earth felt like home. Eli exhaled slowly. He trusted us, and we didn't fail him. Leah smiled faintly, relief washing over her. He gave us the choice, and we took it. Raina looked out at the barren landscape. So, that's it? No more Helix. Eli shook his head. No. He'll always be part of us, the memory of what humans can become if they rise above weakness. The shuttle lifted from the planet, the device safely aboard. As they entered the atmosphere above Earth, the survivors below cheered, not for a single hero, but for themselves. Humanity had been given a chance to rebuild, stronger, wiser, and free. Leah looked at the device. Do you think anyone will try to recreate him? Eli shook his head. No one needs to. Helix's greatest gift wasn't power. It was the lesson. Humans are weak, until they aren't. And now, it's up to us. As the shuttle descended toward the rebuilt city, golden sunlight spilling across the ruins, Eli smiled. The planet was still broken, but alive. Humanity was still fragile, but free. And somewhere, deep in memory and code, Helix rested. No longer a machine, no longer just human, but a reminder of what humans could be. The future stretched out before them, uncertain and bright. And for the first time in centuries, humans were ready to meet it, on their own terms. The sky was clear. The world belonged to them. And humanity had risen.